Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another fresh out of the movie theater edition of Wade Watches. I'm Wade, and today, even though I'm not standing in front of the poster because I am not standing out there in this freezing cold weather, I just got through watching Sisu Road to Revenge. Just got out of it a couple of minutes ago, and this is, of course, a follow-up to the surprisingly awesome 2022 Finnish action film that I don't think it was like a massive hit. It was kind of like a small sleeper hit deal where it got a lot of critical acclaim, but didn't necessarily make a fortune, like a surprise fortune at the box office. But nonetheless, it is hailed as an action masterpiece, and I totally agree with the hype for that first film. I absolutely love it. It's this simple in and out action bloodfest featuring a protagonist whose actions speak louder than his words, because he barely says a word in that first film, and I loved it. And plus, it featured Nazis getting slaughtered, which is always a great time for me. And the only good Nazi is a dead Nazi. That was true then, and that's true now. But anyway, fast forward three years to the present moment, we finally have ourselves a sequel to this badass bloodbath, and it more or less does everything that I loved about that first film. Like the first film, it clocks in at 90 minutes, and that's all the time it needs to just tell this simple in and out action odyssey. It doesn't do anything radically different. No, not at all. Once again, you have our protagonist, Corpy, who is just this quiet man, just trying to live his best life, find some peace, find some closure. Somebody has to come fucking with him, and now you know what comes next. But that's all this movie needed to do to be badass, and it is indeed badass like its predecessor. But I will say one thing that it does improve upon is the villain, is the antagonist. In the first film, it was more or less, these are just Nazi assholes who are just fucking with this old man, just antagonizing him, not knowing what they're going up against until it's too late. And that's more or less the gist of it. There was no like personal connection between Corpy and these Nazi assholes that he just so happened to come across until they make it personal. Whereas here, there's a personal connection between Corpy and Stephen Lang's character from the get-go, and they do use that to great effect. Stephen Lang is not just like, I'm this evil asshole. There is a personal story there. And furthermore, they do use him to great effect, to the point where you're wondering if this guy has met his match. So, whereas in the first film, I was like, he's just going to run through all these fucking Nazi assholes, and that's more or less what happens. Here, I was like, maybe he's got this, and I really appreciate them for kind of raising the stakes in terms of the antagonist. At least a little bit. Not that much. I don't want to give anything away, but at least a little bit. That's all I need to say. And yeah, that's about all I need. That's about all I need to say for this entire review. It's an in and out experience. Again, this is not a long movie. It's 90 minutes. It's very simplistic, not trying to be convoluted, not trying to set up a whole world, not like laying you with a ton of exposition. There's barely any dialogue in this movie, not just because the main character never speaks, but also just in general. And that's what I appreciated. It's all about the action. It's all about getting going. It gets you in, it gets you out, it's over, and it's just a perfect little badass short action odyssey, just like the first Sisu. And so, wrapping it up, I'm gonna go ahead and give Sisu Road to Revenge a perfect 10 out of 10. This movie knows what it is, knows what it's doing, delivers on what you want it to deliver on, and that's all I could ask from it. And because it did that, didn't detract from anything, actually added something in making the villain more interesting, more intriguing, and more intimidating this time around, it deserves that 10 out of 10. It's one of the best movies I've seen in 2025, and one of the best theater experiences in 2025 that I've had since watching Sinners. So Sisu Road to Revenge is a perfect 10 out of 10. And hopefully I don't remember what the first Sisu went up against last year, but I know the sequel is going up against Wicked and Zootopia 2. I hope that this one, does relatively well at the box office, like its predecessor, where you don't need to make a fortune. Apparently, maybe you could just be like a tiny little sleeper hit, because I would love to see a third film. So, I don't usually do this, and I try not to be, pushy preachy, telling all you lovely people out there what to watch with your hard-earned money. But if you're an action fan, check this one out. Support it because I would love to see Sisu 3. This has been, and for those of you who have seen Sisu Road to Revenge, what did you think about it? Please feel free to let me know in the comments below. This has been another edition of Wade Watches, and I'll see you lovely cinephiles next time. Peace.